invitation by now. So that's how it looks.
Okay. So I think we should give a couple of minutes before we can start, man.
Yeah, before we can start, give a couple of minutes. I see Ayusha is also joined. Hi, Ayusha.
Hello, hi. I'm just trying to turn on my camera.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, better. So people who haven't received the Microsoft Teams invite, why? Because we have sent to all the Teams invite to all the people who registered for HackDLT. But in case by any chance, if you missed it, I'm pinging you one email ID. Just reach out to me, reach out to us there, and we should be able to add you on the Teams, right? Let me just share in the details. Yes, the email ID is hackathon@dltlabs.io. So that's the email ID. By any chance, if you think we missed inviting you there, just drop an email to us. Due to high volumes of emails, at times, our email may land in the junk folder or the spam folder. So we suggest you to, go there and look at it. Why? Because we have flooded with many registrations for HackDLT. So our email systems keep on flushing a lot of emails on a daily basis. So due to that heavy traffic, at times, the email may land in spam folder. So I would request you to, check the spam folder. And in case if you haven't received it, drop me an email with whomever you wanted to, kind of included in the Microsoft Teams, you along with your team members. If you just give us that information, we will add you there as a participants. Aisha or else Aisha and Purushottam, we can start.
Yeah, sure, Mac. So guys, thanks for joining. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. So today in this session, what we'll try to achieve is we will go through the cycle of developing Ethereum-based Dapp, and we will come across certain products and services that we have to offer, right, from DL Unified standpoint. After this, once I finish, we have Ayusha who will take care of a smart contract session, right? So he will go through at very high level how you can start with development of a smart contract and which language you can choose and what are some high level construct, right? So I hope by end of this session you are able to get started with developing smart contract, and you are able to build Dapps over DL Unify platform. So this will be the objective, and I hope during this time you have a good journey. So to start with, right, where we ended yesterday, correct? We have DL orchestrator, where you went and created a network, right? We gave two kind of network at this point of time, actually three. One is Element DB, Ethereum, and then Hyperledger Fabric. I think session at around 12 o'clock, we went through about Hyperledger Fabric, right? How to provision a network. Then Element DB is something that may not be applicable to this event directly. And the other network that is very popular among developers is Ethereum network. So in this session, we will go towards creating a dApp for Ethereum. For network, you don't have to provision anything. Many of you may know, right? You have a public mainnet, Ethereum mainnet, and then you have a certain testnet like Ringby, Ropsten, and others. At DLT Labs, we have created our own private test network that you can utilize for free. There is a test ether, right? To execute anything on Ethereum network, you need certain kind of a gas, right? So that gas we call ether. And for our network, we have our own test ether, and we will go through how you can get that ether and start with the development of the application. So before we go into the details, right, what I will try to cover is first is CLI. Once the network is up, right, you need a way where you can write your smart contract. You can compile your smart contract and deploy to our networks, right? So one of the way that you can achieve it is via CLI. Those who are aware about truffle, you can create an analogy around the same. So Unify CLI has something, one command called ruffle that will help you create Ethereum projects. From command line itself, you should be able to compile it. And from command line itself, you should be able to deploy it and invoke it, right? So there are multiple sub commands you can use to basically compile and deploy smart contract on Ethereum network. The second topic that I will touch is Metamask integration. So if those who don't like CLI for certain reasons, right, they will say, I want to use Remix for my compilation and deployment, or even invocations of smart contract, right? Certainly you can use it. We provide Metamask integration, and we will go through how where I can find that information, where I can integrate Metamask with the DL test network. So that is a second thing. And third, I will share information around one demo project that we have. That demo project is public. We will share the link so that you guys can actually see what it takes to basically code that kind of a dApps. So that will be a good reference point to understand both the blockchain or the Ethereum network and how you can develop using DL Unify products and services. The last piece, it's a very small piece. We have our own IPFS nodes, or basically cluster, that you can use for your storage purposes, right? So assume that your use case, right, for hackathon event needs certain kind of storage, and you don't want to use file system. You can always use IPFS, where you can store your data, pin your data, and serve your data from the gateway. So I will share that details also. So these are the main points or main parts of the agenda that we have today from my side. And once I'm done, Ayush will take over and he will go through smart contract, right? At very high level. Those who are amateur, those who are fresher, right? I hope that session will give guidance where to start from. So so I think I can start with this. Let me. Okay, so one thing we said, right? You need to create a project. If you guys remember yesterday's session, first thing you have to do is you have to create a project. We will create Ethereum-based project. So let me create one. Say HackDLT. Today is 23rd. Select blockchain, Ethereum, and I told we have our own network. You can use other network also, but for this event, for your use case, use this DL testnet, and we will be able to provide all the support we need, right? So these are community driven. This is what DLT Labs owns, right? So if anything bad happens, we are here to give you full support on this network. So Ethereum DL network, and then say HackDLT 23rd. and then create this project, right? If you guys remember, once you create a project, you will get a project ID, and then you will get a project secret. So this project secret is important, right? Because that secret you will use to call the APIs or any RPCs, right? So let me show you one more thing, why this project secret is important. So if you come across this, right, so assume that you want to use the APIs, you come across here, you need a header, right? So any API that you call, you have to pass that header, authorization header, that requires a header value. And that header value is nothing but the project that you created here, right? So it's very important to keep this project secret. You can always come to DLT Gateway, copy the secret and use it in your development. So that is one piece. Once you have the project created, I will go to CLI and I will show you how it works. So, okay, so this directory is empty. So I will take two approach. One is creating a project through CLI, and the other approach is creating a project in Remix and deploying that project from the Remix, right? So let me show you one CLI where we have published it. If you go to node npm.js, and if you type DLT labs, you will come across this CLI, right? So you can always run this command in global mode, right? So once you run it, your CLI will be available, right? For my case, I have already run it, already set up. So if I type unify ruffle version, it will give me the version number, right? So currently I have 0.0.20 beta. So this is the version that we are using. So once you install it with the -g option, it will globally install, right? So anytime you type a command, it will come as a command. And if you want to know what type of subcommands or command it has, you can always check the help. Okay, so it has everything you need, right? So in it, basically create your project and initialize your configurations. We will go over configurations also, some of the important configurations. Then it will compile your Solidity file. It will link, right? So certain time what happens in smart contract is you want to link existing library to your current smart contract, right? So we have that options also. Once your contract is compiled, you can deploy it over our DLT testnet. And once a smart contract is deployed, you have certain methods, right, in the smart contract that you want to invoke. So we have invoke, and then any activity for account you want to search, you have a search subcommand. And for each of these command, you have certain flags that you can use, and that will help you, right, execute those command in a certain way. All those information, right, with the example, you will have it on our site. We'll share this link with you in a package, in a communication package that we will send across. And every possible scenario that we thought of that should be useful from a command line perspective, we have given it here with the example. Okay, so so once we are all set up, we will create our first project. This will be a hello world project, right? So unify ruffle is our product name, CLI name, and then say init will create my project and initialize my project, hyphen name, hello world. So it will initialize your project, right? And we will go through what it has done. Just give me a second. So if I do ls, so it created a CLI folder, it created a contract folder, and it created a configuration files, right? So these are important things. So let me import this into IDE. So let me use this one. So just let me see. This is the path. Right. Okay, so what you see, seeing it here, right? It created the CLI, it created the contract directory, and it created the configuration file, right? So this is a good way to visualize it. So if I see currently, I created my first command, right? So what it will do is every command result will come here. So I created an init command. The result you can see here. The second thing is your contract, right? So every contract you will write to be deployed on Ethereum, that will come under contract folder. And this is where your engine works, right? It has all the details that it is needed to deploy your contract to our network, right? One of the detail is this URL, RPC URL, in case if you don't want to consume this API, right? The DLT gateway API directly, there is no hard and fast rule. You can always use these APIs, but if you want to use the RPC directly, you can use this configuration files, right? These details like URL, the header, and the header value, right? So I told you about this header value. This is your project secret, right? In this case, what I will go is I created one project, HackDLT to 23rd. So I will copy this project secret and paste it here. Okay. So I will go over certain configurations. So if you want to know what is RPC URL for DLT testnet, this is the RPC URL for DLT testnet that we deployed. There are certain configuration like timeout and all those things. Those are self-explanatory, right? Other important piece is this header. Is basically the project that you created in DLT gateway. Then every network has its own chain ID. So this is our chain ID. There are certain defaults around gas price, gas limit, right? It's basically how much you want to pay for a certain transaction, correct? So now once you go over the details of blockchain and Ethereum, you will come across this terminology. And if you need in future to change these default configuration, you can always come to this file and change it. Another piece is wallet. Of course, you will use your own wallet, right, to deploy and invoke certain things. So you can keep your wallet address and your private key here, and it will automatically pick while during deployment, smart contract deployment, and all those things. There are certain solidity because currently we are supporting solidity in CLI. So you can provide all these configuration, right? How, which version, which consensus algorithm, right? What kind of compiler output you need will come here. Mostly you don't need to change this, right? This will take care of everything. Also, we have one program argument field, right? So once you come across a smart contract, they have a constructor. So every time you deploy a smart contract, you have to invoke a constructor, right? So it is executed by default. So it may happen that those constructor take certain arguments. It can be multiple arguments. You can use this array to fulfill those argument requirement during deployment. Also, what happens is certain times you use different compiler version. So you can use this compiler version field to compile your contract with a specific version that you have, right? So you don't have to worry about you have to be upgraded to latest, right? So this is that field you can use, and this is the project that we created with the name Hello World, right? So this is your configuration files with some important details around our DL testnet RPCs, and I hope this configuration file will give you all those informations, right? So once you are done, what you will do is you will start writing the contract, correct? So this is your contract directory where your contract will go. So let me go through a simple hello world contract. So if I go to, if I go to this, we have already added a simple hello world contract so that you can start very quickly. So I will create a hello world.sol here. Right, so I will copy paste. Currently, I think we are using 089. And then once this is done, what I will do is I will compile, right? So, and let's see what happened after compilation. So how it works, unify ruffle, if I put a help, how I can check what command is right. So there is a sub command called compile. and there is something called file, right? This is a compile flag. So if I say unify ruffle compile file, the file name that we created is hello world.solidity, right? So SOL is extension for solidity. So you don't have to pass the folder name. It will automatically do the magic, and it will reach out to any contract that you have in the contract folder. So you just have to pass unify ruffle compile and the contract that is present in the contract folder. So once you do this, it will compile for you and see what it happens, right? So it is saying successfully. Let's see what it created. So if I see here, my compilation result has come. So far it looks good, but it created one more folder, right? Build folder was not there. So let's see what is there in the build folder. So in the build and contract, we have hello world.json. And this is what compiled a solidity compiled file look like, right? It's a JSON where it has all the information around the interfaces that contract has, right? So if I see what kind of interfaces, it has a state variable message, and then it has a constructor and a simple contract method called update, right? Update this message to something else. So if I see those information comes here, right? Update is a function that takes that has output that takes a new message as a string, and then it has bytecode, right? So compiled thing should also have the binary that will be deployed on our network. So those who are new, you don't have to worry about. It will automatically taken care, right? Those who are experienced can always look into the details of this, right? So this is standard that the community used, nothing specific. So this is now what we have done is we created the project, we understood the configuration for integration to our DL testnet, and now we are able to compile it, right? Next logical step is we should be able to deploy it, right? Let's do that. So again, if I say unify ruffle deploy, say I just want to check, right? I forgot the command. Let's see. Say unify ruffle and help. Okay, there is a subcommand called deploy, and there is a called contract. Right now we have a compiled contract, and it comes under deploy flag. So let's do that. So unify ruffle deploy -c. What you want to deploy now? Your contract has become a JSON, right? It's a compiled, so you will give the compiled file name, right? So once you click enter, it will try to deploy, and I hope this time it works. Yeah, so it is able to generate the hash, right? Okay, so it has given me some information, right? So it is able to deploy my contract and given a contract address, right? So once you deploy any code to the Ethereum network, it has an address, and you use this address to invoke certain method, right? So this is very important. Those who are experienced already know about it, right? Yesterday I said any activity that you do on the network, it should be visible, right? So let's see whether or not I can find this hash on our Explorer. So if I come back to say unify, I said this is our testnet Explorer. Let's click it. Okay, I land up there, right? And I see a lot of activity. Currently I deploy one contract and this comes here, right? Again, if I don't see it in a recent transaction, I can always use this search functionality. I added the hash, I copied the hash from there, and I landed up here, right? So this is the hash, this is the block number where it is consumed or mined, right? And then the nonce detail and others details, correct? You can actually see the raw trace in case if you want to go deep, right? So it provides you all those information. Also, it gives you internal transactions, right? That happens during the deployment. So this is a very handy tool to see what's actually going on onto the network. And for every activity that you perform, right? Any activity that changes a state, those activity can come here. Okay, so now I'm able to deploy it. Let's see what else I can do it using CLI, right? So let's go to our example page. so apart from the hello world, right, it gives you more complex example. It may happen you have a nested contract. It gives you that example also. It may happen your contract is deep inside the directory, right? It may not that you keep your contract at one level of the directory, right? Your contract can be at deep inside the directory. Even those examples are given in the published page that we have in NPMS registry. So once that is done, we are able to verify it, right? Let's invoke a certain method, right? So let me quickly paste this command, right? So this is an old address, but we generated our new address. Let's copy paste our new address. So this is my address, right? So let's come here, change the address of our newly deployed code. Yes, this is my deployed contract. Yes, I want to use the update method. I want to invoke that method. I know where my code exists in the network, right? And I just want to pass one parameter that is hello, right? So it looks good. Let's copy that and see if it works, right? So if I copy that, right? So it will invoke the transaction again. It is able to generate the hash and able to get the receipt, right? So this is what CLI is all about, right? You are able to achieve most of the things. You can try yourself few more commands that we have. One is search. You can always use our text explorer, but those who wants to use CLI, they can always search any activity quickly here, right? With this command. And I told about link in case if you have a library, right, existing library on the network, you don't want to deploy it and you want to consume it, you can always link that library using the link command that we provide you. So I will have these two commands for you guys to test, right, and so that you can feel of how this CLI works. So this is about CLI way of creating a project, compiling, deploying, and invoking a project, right? Some of you who are already aware about Ethereum development, then you will say, I want to go to Ethereum route. The answer is you can always go, and I will go through one example of same example of Hello World, right? Let's do that. So if I say remix, so go, here is my hello world example, correct? If first of all, what I will do is I will compile it, right? So let's compile. Then this is the deployment option, right? The steps that you are doing through CLI, you can do the same step here, but now you have a GUI in place, correct? So here you will select your injected Web3, right? Once you select, it will ask for Metamask integration, right? Here is an important concept. So here, if you see, right, I have not connected to mainnet. I have not connected to Roxen testnet or Ringby or anything, right? I told you DL testnet is our network. So you need certain details, right? So where I can find that information. So if you remember from yesterday, we have our forum that you can go, right? Let me go to forums. Okay, so one question that will come is where I can find this detail, right? So if I go to forum, I just have to search MetaMask and I hope something will come up. So this is the integration, right? Let's open it. So if you see, it has all the steps from getting the secret to basically going to the network, right? Selecting the custom RPC and then filling out details, right? The project secret and the network name and the URL that we have. We have given the example also, always use your own secret. Don't use this secret because this will not work, right? So this is just an example. Also, from MetaMask only you can go to transactions, right? So you can give our Explorer URL, right? Where you go search certain transaction and another blockchain activity. So this is where you can you can find the information about MetaMask integration. Once you are able to achieve the integration, you will land up on this page, right? And you will have this your MetaMask integrated with DL, right? So now once it is integrated, it will automatically find the network information, right? Now I should be able to deploy it, right? Say let's hello HackDLT, right? And then I will click on deploy. Let's see what happens. So it's saying, okay, this is the network that I want to use. This is the account I want to use. It will ask me for the confirmation. And then once I confirm it, it will deploy it, right? So all those contract address and detail will come here. You can always copy this, or you can use the some of the contract method. In this case, hello update, right? And once I update, it will again do the transaction, and it will ask for signing of transaction, right? So MetaMask and my account and my wallet is there to do that, and then it's done, right? So you can use Remix if you find it easy. If you are a starter, if you're a fresher, you can use this. Those who are professionals, right, they can use the CLI. So these are the two approaches around deployment of or compilation deployment of smart contract and invocation of it. After this, okay, so there is a question. So I'm taking question now because I see one question popping up. Can we use an already existing MetaMask account? Yes, you can use your own wallet, existing wallet. Only thing is you have to change the network, right? You have to ensure that you are not on Ethereum network or any other network. You are on our network, right? And how you can integrate our network? I told you, you have to go to forums and you have to search for a MetaMask integration, and you have all the details here, right? So the short answer to your question is you can use your existing wallet. And only thing is you have to ensure that you are integrating it to our DL testnet network. So these are the two approaches, right? So at least we are good with the network, we are good with the deployment, right? Now we have our code on the blockchain, so we have reached this level. So what next? The next piece is Dapps, right? So Dapps, you can use any technology that you want. Mostly people use the web technologies, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. It works. Use Web3 APIs to connect to our network, right? So what we have done is we have our we will public this information around one of the project that we have, right? So let me show you where you can find this information. So we have a sample project here. So there is a GitHub link also. We will share that GitHub link with you guys. One of the Ethereum example, right, is our letting Dapps. Like Ethereum, right? All the project that we have created, we have kept it here. All the responses that you saw in Visual Studio Code, right? You have this thing checked in here. Then there is a UI piece also, right? So this is this anyone can learn, right? I mean, you can take online tutorials if you are new, if you are professional, you know how to play with it. So you can look at it. All those information is available here, provider and all those things. This is a great guiding point. And how it looks, right? So let's see. So if I give you one running example, there are many functionality. I will touch upon one so that you can get a feel of it, but you can always play it. So let's see this account, sign in. Let's create a tenant, right? So I'm a tenant and I want to have a security deposit of 1, a rent amount of 1, and every week this guy has to pay me 1 ether. That's very costly. But once I execute the agreement, it will ask for signing through my wallet, and it's all good, right? So And it's okay. It's also gives you the link also, right? So once you click on that, you actually land up on our Explorer and see the transaction details. So this is where we are. Just to summarize what we have done, right? Network details. I hope you guys are comfortable now. For Ethereum, we have our own network. Use that network. Then you have a CLI for project creation, compilation, deployment, and invocation. It has a configuration files. It has the configuration file will give you additional information around the RPC URL and any header that you have to pass, right? Once you are able to deploy your contract, then you can refer our code, right? So in the communication package that we will sending, it will have this link that you can always refer, right? How you can build and integrate with the DL testnet. You can always see the actual live demo. We will have this link shared in the communication package that we will send. So this is about your first step about how you can build Ethereum Dapp using a DL Unify service, right? There is one more topic before I move over to Ayushya for smart contract development. So I think CLI is done, Metamask we covered, Remix we covered, project demo, right? And then IPFS. So I told you about if you want to use a decentralized storage, right? This is where Web3 is also going. So if you want to use this storage, you can always check that information. Forum can be your guide here, right? So let me go to the forum. This time I have to type IPFS. I hope something will come up. One result it is saying, let's see. Okay, so DL IPFS, and it will give you with the example code, right? How you can use our IPFS to upload any file and access any file, right? And it gives you the server details. It gives you the API server and gateway server details, right? With a small code, how you can achieve it. So this is very handy, very easy to integrate, right? So those who wants to use storage solution, you can always use it. And if you think you want to stick with the file disk, it's up to you. But more Web3 tech stack you will use, I think that will help you scoring well in the hackathon event, right? In case if you want to be participating in the competitive hackathon. So this is about building dApps using DL Unify. If any question, I can take it at end. I think we can hand over to Ayushya for smart contract. What is Solidity? High level programming construct, right? It will give you a few references where you can read about Solidity and development of smart contract using Solidity over Ethereum, right? So you can always go back and learn about it. So this is from my side, Mac. I think we can hand over to Ayushya, and once that is done, we can go over to question and answer. Right?
Definitely, Purushottam. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ayushya.
Hello, hi guys. I'll be sharing my screen. Let me know if everything is visible clearly. Just a thumbs up would be fine, I guess.
Not yet loaded. Your screen is not yet loaded right now.
Okay, I'll wait for a couple of moments.
Yes, it is loaded. Your screen is visible.
Welcome, guys. So in this session, we would be discussing about Solidity, and I'll give you a brief overview as Purushottam mentioned. Thank you, Purushottam, for that. So we'll be covering some data types, and
somehow your voice is like, too far away. Can you just come closer to the PC or something you are speaking about?
Okay, just yes.
Or else your audio settings might be, has to be changed a little bit. Either you can increase the input level or something.
I think is it better now?
Yeah, it's pretty better now. Yeah.
Okay, just a moment. I think it should be better now.
Yes, Ayush, it is better now.
Okay. So yeah, we'll be discussing about the data types in Solidity, and then I'll let you know what are the global variables that you can access from anywhere in the contract. These are the variables which pertain to the state of the blockchain and provides you information of the blockchain as a overall. Then we'll see what are modifiers, and then we'll know about functions. So first data type is Booleans. So as in all other languages, this is a data type which is used to represent Boolean values of true and false. And the operators which are available for it, they are logical negation and logical conjugation, equality, disjunction, and inequality. So any Boolean value that you come across, you can you can use these operators on Boolean variables. Now, next data type is integers. In Solidity, we have signed and unsigned integers. And keywords like uint, whenever a keyword starts with uint, it tells about the unsigned integers. So in this also the integer data types, we use operators of comparisons like less than equal to, greater than equal to. It is very similar to the as seen in any other language of computers. So I'll be moving ahead from this also. So in addition, subtraction, multiplication, these are the operations which are available in Solidity, and I'll provide you an update on that. As previously, it was unchecked. Like whenever you added something which was beyond the scope of a variable, like suppose a variable is supposed to store numbers till 64 only, and if you try to add a few more numbers to it, then it would have rounded off and came back to the starting. But now these arithmetic operations are checked for underflow and overflow. And previously we used to require a library of safe math so that we can ensure all the arithmetic operations are checked for their underflow and overflow. And if there's any case you want to use the previous functionality, you can always use unchecked block. That I'll share you the link how to use it, and it would be available in the links that I'll share you. So this is how you can do any unchecked operation if you want to override this default behavior of checking. So coming to the division part. So in Solidity also, the division happens as in any other language. You divide and you get a number which is rounded towards 0. So all the division operations are rounded off in Solidity. So next one is Modulo. As in other languages, Modulo is used to get the remainder of remainder part. So if you want to divide, get like in the first examples that you can see, it provides you a remainder of 1, if you can see here. And if you are doing negative operation, when remainder is always a minus n into q. So this, if this is considered as a and this is considered n, your remainder will always be a minus n into q. So q is any the highest possible divisor. So I'll say it again that modulo is often the most used operator in Solidity also. So exponentiation. So
Okay, Ayush, sorry for. So all these operators, right? These are mathematical operations, and I think participants are aware about it, right? So you can quickly skim over it and come
yeah.
to that. These kind
Okay.
of stuff. Yeah.
So, okay. In exponentiation, I would like to mention one thing that ethers is represented as 10 to the power 18 V. So the smallest unit is V in this, and whenever you want to represent it, you can either use a power functions exponentiation, or you can just write it as one ether. So there are some Solidity specific data types like address and mappings and contracts. So coming to address holds a 20 byte value of Ethereum address. And there is another address data type. If you want to make any payable transactions with an address, you'll have to declare that address as payable. So that way you will be able to differentiate between your addresses which you are planning to use. In any case, you try to make a transfer to an address which is of only address data type, then Solidity will prevent those accidents from happening, and they will require you to make an address payable. And if you want to use address data type as a payable function, you'll have to explicitly convert from one data type to another. And these are the members of address data type. If there is a variable which is of address data type, you can invoke following methods with that. You can get the balance of that address. You can transfer some X amount of value to it. And you can also use a send operation to transfer the value. And you can also invoke the call method. So this call method is invoked whenever you are interacting with the address which is of contract data. Like if you have a contract and you want to invoke some methods onto that, you can use this call method. And this delegate call, it provides you a low-level functionality of delegate call. This is the assembly call that is made, and it forwards all the available gas, and it is also adjustable in terms of gas. And this static call, this is also a it allows user to make a static call to any address, and it returns anything that has that can be returned from that specific address. So whatever function, whatever data type has been returned from that static call, it would be available here in terms of bytes memory. So next is mapping data types. In mapping, there is key and another's value. These mapping data types you might have seen in languages like Python. And the most common use of this mapping data type is to store balance of any ERC20 balance or any Ethereum balance of any address. So if you have in keys as the address data type and uint as this value data type, you will be able to associate all the addresses whichever you want to specific values of them. So here is an example of which shows how to use the mappings. I think I should skip over it since you might already know about these mappings. And if there is any concern of how to use the mappings, you can always contact us on forums as well. So as you can see in this current one, there is a mapping of balances and a mapping which has an internal mapping as well of allowances. So mapping can hold pointers to other mappings also. So next is the contract data type. And this every contract define its own type. So you can implicitly convert contracts, and you can explicitly contracts can be explicitly converted to and from the address type. So whenever you store a contract address, you'll be storing it into the contract data type. So let's say you provided an interface to a contract, and you want to make calls to that interface. So you can store that variable as the data type of the contract itself. Maybe with an example, it would be more comprehensible. So in this function here, there is a contract D and there is a contract C. And this C contract creates an instance of the first one, D contract. So at line number 11, we can see that the data type of this variable small d is this capital D. So this this contract has been used as the data type here. So this is the contract data type. Okay, now coming to types of functions, there are some special functions which provide us flexibility in the usage of gas. So if there is a view function, it would just be viewing the state of the blockchain, and it will allow you to read the data from the blockchain. It, however, will not modify any existing state members of the blockchain. So this helps in pre-calculating the cost of the transaction, so that the transaction cost has already been pre-calculated, and those interactions can be made at a low cost. So similar to this view, there is another function of pure. So pure functions are the one which perform only mathematical operations or any operation which without reading the state of the blockchain. They do not even read the blockchain state. So they just perform some operations and provide us the values. So these are the regarding pure functions. Now, as I was saying about global solidity, so block hash, one of them is block hash. It returns the hash of the given blocks. And this block.coinbase, it lets you access the current block miner's address. So if you were to include in your contract some functionality related to the miner also, you will be able to include it using this block.coinbase. Block.difficulty allows you to use difficulty level of the blockchain at the current value. This gas limit is the block gas limit, so that if you can measure how much your gas your transaction is going to make. And this number, block.number, provides you current block number. This timestamp provides you the current block timestamp in seconds. And this gas left, this is a very useful function which provides you how much gas has been used and how much gas is remaining. And then there comes this message.data, and these globals message.data, sender and signature, so and value. These are the most used variables in Solidity. So whenever you want to access the data that has been passed to into the transaction, you can use message.data. And if you want to check who is the sender of that transaction, you can check via message.sender. And if you want to know how much amount of ethers was sent in the transaction, you can get that value by this message.value. It provides the value in terms of V, which is the smallest unit of measurement in Ethereum. And then there comes this variables of gas price and origin. There happens many cases when the transaction is changed from one address to another address to another address. And in those scenarios, if you want to know how the transaction initiated, you can use transaction tx.origin. So, and if you want to know about how standards are made in Ethereum, you can refer to the link of this EIP, and you will be able to find out how Ethereum standards are made. And a couple of important standards which you might know. There is a EIP 20, which defines how ERC20 tokens are made. And there is ERC 775, which defines standards related to NFT. And similarly, these are more standard, and if you want to know details, you will be able to get the specific details how to implement them and what is their specification from these EIPs. So this is a hands-on approach, which I would be skipping for this session because it would require us a lot of time. And I think by this, I'll be concluding my session for now. And these are some helpful links which can provide you details. So first one is Ethereum book, and this is the research section. And this is the project management link, which manages how the Ethereum project is governed and run. And this blog provides all the details related to research and development of Ethereum. So I think that's all from my side as well. Over
Great.
to you.
Yeah, thanks. So Shivang, this study material, I would just check if we can give it to you. But what I would suggest to you is all these videos, whatever the recordings are happening right now, are on YouTube on a very private list kind of a thing. I mean, they are unlisted. We have the URL, which we'll send it across to you. So you can review back what is the sessions happened yesterday, today, everything will be there. As soon as the sessions are done, we would keep on uploading the videos in, in 2 to 3 hours kind of a span. Apart from this, you will have the MS Team invites, Microsoft Teams, which you can join. So I'm sure everyone would have received it. People who messaged me recently saying that, they haven't received it. We also have sent that. So you can get there, and, probably what we can do is we can pin these videos or else information everywhere on the Microsoft Teams itself. So it would act as one channel where you can get everything right from the communications to rest of everything, right? Any other questions, guys, which you want Ayusha and Purushottam to speak on? Just raise the hand if you have any questions. I would be happy to unmute you, and you can ask them directly. Any questions? Probably we'll close off in next 30 seconds in case if there are no questions. Yeah, I don't see any questions. So that's all, guys, for today. So tomorrow there would be a session. Mostly why? Because majority of the people reached out to us and told they are in classes today. So tomorrow probably we will have another session. But all the communications will happen through mail or Microsoft Teams, as I mentioned you. You should be able to get a calendar invite if there is a session tomorrow, and we'll also send you the details of the session tomorrow if there is any session there. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Have a great Saturday. Thanks, Ayusha, and thanks, Purushottam.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.